10 seconds remaining.
All right, now we're just going to play it off like nothing happened. I'm not sure what the problem was, actually. Just couldn't manage to get the connection to be there. But we are here now. I'm AC, joined by EG's own Fear. We got game 2 of this best of 3 between Kaipi and Team Liquid on the way, and Liquid making it look easy in game 1, my friend. And yeah, we talked a whole lot about it and touched on it during the draft. The lineup that we saw Kaipi put together just had that one very tough shortcoming. If you get behind, you can't really play from behind, and Liquid exploited it every way they could.
Yeah, just from the draft alone, they exploited it. So they were just never really had a chance to get in the game, seeing how the game played out from just the beginning and the lanes they chose to do. So I don't expect that to happen again. And as you can see, they've got some more, fighting heroes for the early stages of the game, which I'd love to see.
Absolutely. We can see Kaipi putting together a lineup with that Lifestealer. Liquid, though, just picking up the TA and the clockwork. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And really, like you said, fighting heroes, a lot of aggression, especially if the Nyx Assassin can hit a quick 6.
Yeah, that's a really good... They managed to pick up Nyx Assassin first pick, I guess, here. And they have the light... Sorry, the stream started playing in the background. Got confused. But anyways, they picked up the TA again just for the Magnus. It's a really good hero to have against Magnus because it guarantees you your Templar Assassin will have free farm. So it'll be interested to see if their Kaipi's like really one-dimensional and where they lane this Magnus, where they adapt and throw it on the offlane and put a hero against the Templar that actually fares a little better. Magnus can do okay, but it definitely doesn't win the lane by any chance.
One thing I'm interested to see out of Kaipi is who's going to be handling the Lifestealer and if they're going to pick up another more late-game-oriented hero for Eternal Envy. I mean, Envy obviously is most of the time the #1 carry position for them. But as we talked about in Game 1, Lifestealer is a hero who does benefit a lot from having a safety valve, having someone else to deal damage. And if they want to pick that up, now might be the time. I mean, Liquid has the potential to offensively tri-lane on the back of Clockwork and Nyx Assassin again if they want to, or they could just pick a very stable carry of their own. Lone Druid is available if Kaipi wants to go that direction. Nope, gotta get a support. It's gonna be the Veno.
Usually when you pick a Venomancer, it means one of two things. First thing is aggressive tri-lane, because that's one of the heroes that's very, very strong at level 1, but he kind of falls off throughout the game. Becomes food, he just has a slow, very easy to juke that slow. He's still useful, but not the most useful support, not like a Nyx Assassin or a Bane, which is actually, oh, they banned the Bane. Liquid has that much respect for Bane against Kaipi that they either take it early or they just don't let him have it, because they play, it's really just in their comfort zone. It's one of those things, just take them out of their comfort zone like they did last game and just pick them apart.
Well, I was actually talking in the previous match. Think about Bane, and one reason I think he's currently waxing so much in popularity is the fact that he is a really good counter to pretty much all of the major heroes in terms of carry potential in the meta right now. I mean, when you talk about the popularity of Gyro, Lifestealer, Lone Druid, and so on, Bane just copes so very well with them, and even against lineups that have 2 carries, like a Lifestealer plus a Druid, he's even able to contribute then. Just Nightmare 1, and say a Lone Druid and a Lifestealer, a dream situation, is the Nightmare the Bear, Fiend's Grip the Lifestealer, and then Enfeeble the Druid. I mean, or any combination you want out of that. So
yeah,
definitely understand why Liquid would want to take him out of the mix here. Waiting to see the bans, and yeah, we could see Kaipi going ahead and taking out the Lina this time, sniffing that maybe Liquid might be thinking offensive tri-lane again.
Yeah, they very well might do that again, but it's gonna be most likely they won't, because Nyx Assassin is not a very good aggressive tri-lane hero, and Kaipi has a Nyx and a Venomancer already. So I really doubt they're gonna rush into that head first with these heroes. I don't think it's gonna happen. But what's really interesting about Bane though is he's a high impact support. Like all his spells, they scale very well. Just the Bane alone as a support hero could be the 5 Bane. He can just win a fight and just shut down the carry no matter how much farm he has if he has good positioning. Heroes like Venomancer, they're not really... They're good heroes for early game, but it does not scale very well. It's not a high impact support by any means. So they're looking to get a lot out of their laning phase with Venomancer. Like I said, last game, they failed their lanes. They take the Venomancer, that secures their lanes. So maybe that's what they're thinking.
We can already see the Darkseer Storm Spirit taken out by Liquid, not wanting to give any Nyx bomb potential away. Wouldn't be surprised to see if they want to take out something like I mean, even a Nature's Prophet, given what we're seeing already out of Kaipi. That's a hero who actually works really well with a Lifestealer. We've seen that before.
Right.
So
I was expecting them to actually take Gyro instead of that Venomancer there. That would have been a really good pickup for them, but I don't know if Liquid will give it to them at this stage. They have one more ban. We'll see what they do. But they're getting rid of the Infest spawn, and they're once again targeting Bones heroes. Make sure he doesn't get the hero that he plays almost every single game.
Looking at the 2 bans out of Kaipi, they have 1 more left, and I would be a little bit surprised if they didn't spend it on a Shadow Demon here. I mean, when you look at Liquid's lineup, they do most likely need another support. I mean, well, it depends on how they want to lane it, actually. They don't necessarily
Rubik
have
too.
to have one. Yeah, Rubik as well. Shadow Demon just works so well to shut down a Lifestealer. Being able to disrupt whatever target he opens wounds on and then throw out the demonic purge, it just makes Lifestealers so much less potent in any kind of an engagement, be it 5-on-5 or 1-on-1. So Liquid going to take out the Druid.
Interesting. I guess they don't have plans of having a hero that can solo against Lone Druid as well this game, such as a Lifestealer, because the Infest, not the Infest, but the whatever his Lifesteal ability is called, is really good against Lone Druid at low levels, because you hit it once and you get like full HP, because that bear has so much HP. And there's not many counters to that 1v1 Lone Druid. And there goes the Gyro ban. That's interesting. It could work for Liquid. I understand that. It worked for Kaipi as well. I think they both probably wanted it, so Kaipi just didn't want to risk it because they didn't have the first pick going into the second phase of the picks.
Now, the 4th slot here for Team Liquid is the interesting pick to me. I mean, right now, I mean, we can see they most likely want to fight, but how all in are they going to be on aggression is really going to be the question. Are they going to go ahead and grab up that Shadow Demon, which will be available, or do they decide to go ahead and grab the highest value carry they can? If they wanted to offensively trialing, which again, as you had mentioned, not quite as likely whenever you look at the picks they have in the clock and the Nyx Assassin in particular, but Luna works very well and can fight very, very early. Problem with that is Eclipse not going to work against Lifestealer whenever he's raged up. I mean, if you're looking at a carry right now and you're in Team Liquid shoes, what are you thinking, Fear?
Luna's a great option. Weaver is something they like to run as well. It's a very good hero against Lifestealer, especially if they're sniffing out this aggressive tri-lane. You just put a Weaver against a Venomancer Lifestealer. Those are 2 heroes that just have a slow, no lockdown. No matter how slow a Weaver is, he can run away hasted with the Sakuchi ability. So I could see them going down that direction very easily if they want to work on, just like surviving this lane. But they're actually going to go with the Luna, which means they're not going to go with the Weaver at all. But this is a very strong team fight hero.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking, and it does give them the ability, if they want to potentially look to shift their lanes around some. Luna can bounce around very easily, and what I love about Luna, what makes her so strong in the laning phase, is the fact that her damage bonus is a flat damage bonus and not a percentage-based bonus, which means just 1 point into it helps everyone out immensely. And just knowing Liquid, I mean, I want to say I've actually seen them run this before. Run a Clockwork, a Nyx, and a Luna in an offensive tri-lane. I agree with you. It's a little weird, but it has happened, and I've seen them do it before. So now waiting their last pick will tell us exactly what they're going to be up to, I suspect.
Kaipi has revealed their hand here. And the one problem I have with Luna here is that if she gets caught out by these spells, she can help with plus damage for her team, but she's very squishy. She's not going to survive a Gale, open wounds, and a Visage nuke. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Where if they had the Weaver, that would have totally screwed up their game plan completely here. But if Liquid plays it smart, or if they do a little mind gaming and just like you said, run around and just confuse them on what lanes they're going to be in, just start the Luna somewhere else. But they might actually fight the lane head-on with Enchantress. That's one of the strongest safe lane heroes you can get. Get 2 creeps early, just go fight them. So not a bad pickup. It's early game is going to decide this game if it is a tri-lane versus tri-lane battle here. And Kaipi's going to pick up a carry most likely as their last pick here for this solo top lane.
Fluff does love his Enchantress, man. He loves that hero. He's one of the few that I actually would say, I mean, outside of maybe Kuroki. Kuroki runs an Enchantress every now and then, but Fluff will draft or try to draft an Enchantress any chance he gets, and it gives them so much flexibility. I mean, looking at the way this is looking to lane out here, it seems pretty obvious TA will be in mid, but what are they going to do? I mean, like you said, is the Enchantress going to start in her own jungle, then at level 3, bounce to the enemy side and start applying pressure or what? But Faceless Void going to be the pickup, and it is going to be Bone, at least it seems that way, on the Lifestealer with Envy on that much harder carry. And Envy really embracing the idea of playing the hard farming carry since his switch from Alliance to Kaipi.
Yeah, he really does love those hard carries. But one thing I might see Liquid do here is dodge bottom lane. Throw the Clockwork down there, keep the TA in mid, there's nothing wrong with that, and just run like a dual lane off lane with Enchantress roaming. That's something they could do to just cause havoc through early game and get them through the laning phase. They could also play their cards and just go, we'll take on your tri-lane and we'll just be disciplined about it, and when you make a mistake, we'll try to capitalize on it. But if they make mistakes of their own, it's going to become a disaster. It's going to be interesting to see how they choose to play this. But the Void pick is interesting too, because if they do aggressive, that's the hero that they're going to put solo against Clockwork if they think Clockwork's going on that off lane. So it's not a bad choice.
Yeah, exactly. And what I think that Void pick does kind of do to Liquid is put them under the gun, like we saw in Game 1. I mean, it's not quite as extreme because Luna does have good late game potential. But I don't know that Liquid is necessarily going to want to go up against an empowered Void with a Lifestealer with good farm, with a mag. And, you know, again, I mean, in Poison Nova, even though, like you said, Veno does eventually just become food. He is great at level 1, but he does start to become very easily killed. But the cool thing about the hero is he only needs to get off a couple of spells to be really effective. So right now, looks like we might have the potential for an engagement from the Radiant side jungle. Our Fearless Badger trying to keep an eye.
Liquid can't fight, though. Like, they cannot fight this. They have really, really bad level 1 heroes.
And TC did put his first point into Lunar Blessing. You know, be careful with their courier here. He is hanging out in the tree, so he should be safe, but...
Yeah, that's interesting. Upgraded chicken already. Who's that? That's Kaipi's courier. Interesting.
That is their courier, isn't it? I thought it was Liquid just because of where it is. Okay. We'll see what they want to do with it. I mean, what? I mean...
Rocket's level 1 on Bulba. That might bite him in the ass if they saw that rocket, because they can just go on him without those cogs being there.
We can see KP is looking to run an offensive tri-lane of their own. And, you know, that's not the biggest surprise in the world. Void, as you mentioned, going to match up quite well against Bulba. No, actually.
But he's not going to. They're doing what I thought they should have done, and it's just throw the Clockwork down there versus there and just run that dual lane on the off lane with Enchantress roaming around.
Right. And this courier is playing brave. Look at this. You see this? Look where he just moved to.
I think he's trying to block camps with the courier.
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, he is. He's blocking the camps with the courier, so then Enchantress has no creeps there, but Enchantress doesn't care. She's not even there.
Enchantress in the other lane, and yeah, Fluff says that's fine, and that's one of those funny things that it's really cool what they're doing, but it's going to have absolutely no effect, at least on the early game. But
it's going to have effect on their supports because they spend a lot of gold for that.
All right, let's run through our lineup. See who's handling who. TC going to be farming up the Luna. TA going to be handled in mid by Korok for the second game in a row. Fluff going to be playing on Enchantress with Bulba handling our Clockwork Goblin for the second game in a row. And IX Mike going to be playing on Nyx Assassin. On the other side of the river, we got Zizou playing on our Snake Man, the Venom Mancer. Magnus going to be played by Arise once again. Pylite Dai going to be handling the Visage. And Visage, a hero that is often played by Liquid, so seeing him get past Liquid and into the hands of Kaipi, a little bit fun. Gonna have Bone 7 playing on our Lifestealer, and Eternal Envy, as anticipated, will be farming up the Faceless Void.
Now they're starting to make rotation already from the supports, but like they already got kind of what they wanted out of this. They're making the Visage run around, which is like against Undying and Visage in particular. These are two heroes that do not enjoy roaming around the map. They love sitting in a lane and just sitting there 3 versus 3 because that's where they thrive against multiple heroes. So playing this type of style where you make them run around is effectively just winning your lanes and making the hero later on become just a little less strong.
The farm at the top, all pretty even. We got 10 for our Lifestealer, 11 now, 10 for TC, 9 for Enchantress as our Jungle CS in mid. Basically break even right now, 7-4, so Magnus not doing quite as well against TA as he would like, but still hanging in. And we're going to see Cogs go off, and Bulba just loves to, Bulba just loves to be annoying with Cogs, and he plays one of the more aggressive Clockworks you're going to see. I mean, doesn't even need hook. He'll just walk right up to you and drop his Cogs. Yeah,
he leveled up to level 2 as well, which means it has extra mana burn. And if you're a Lifestealer and you take that extra mana burn, you're just out of mana completely, and that's what Bulba's going for.
And we'll see how this top lane pans out. Right now, Envy's suffering quite a bit. He's got every bit of 2 last hits, and this is one of those things where, you know, Void does have the ability to contribute even if he is under farm just because of the strength of Chronosphere and how you can manipulate a team fight with it. But he is not a hero. I mean, as we all know, he does need his items to really be able to do much of anything in the mid-game. And given that Liquid has a team that's going to peak in the mid-game.
They're trying to go on Bulba on bot, but Cogs.
Yep.
This Venomancer really needs to head to top lane. He needs to make the switch. Eternal Envy at this stage has to just get farmed. He needs to be farmed no matter what. This is not a hero that you can sacrifice and hope to catch up later, because the hero just doesn't work that way. He needs a lot of farm. And yeah, they're just, the Venomancer are just trying to secure farm for Bone down here, but honestly, he can't even help him that much. Because he's never going to have mana to go.
Fluff shows his face in bottom lane, so they're going to have to play a little bit more cautiously. Bulba already to level 4. Taking a look at Bone, he's level 4 as well. His farm not too bad, he's at 17. But the Void continues to suffer heavily. And I agree with you. I mean, at this point, the Void's got to be the higher priority, and we can see the Harpy Stormcrafter flying around the map trying to get some vision and do what he can there in mid. And Bulba, again, just doesn't care. He will just walk up to a lifestealer and say, I don't care, man. It's fine. You can, you know, swipe at me, get some health. I'm still going to get my experience in my last hits.
Right, and it's not even just about the Void. It's the one of their heroes that desperately need farm top is the Luna as well. And if they rotate to a tri-lane up there, that'll secure farm for Void and reduce the farm Luna will get, which is also a very big deal.
And we can see Envy now trading blows.
TP's up.
Yep,
TP on Venomancer, yeah. Oh, wow. On the top.
Oh, there's the impale from Mike. Catches Pylite die. TC was taking some damage. Now Mike might be in a little bit of trouble. Could be our first blood. Nope. No soul assumption. So they managed to make it away. A little bit of paint traded, but all in all, everyone's still intact.
Yeah, the thing about Visage as well is, like, he's not that good in dual lanes. Like, 2 versus 2, there's not enough damage going around for his soul assumption to get a whole lot of charges and just blow a hero up instantly.
Yep.
So he's a hero designed for tri-lanes, and if he doesn't get in the tri-lane situation, he's not being utilized.
Right now, the status quo very much going the way of Liquid. We can see 4 of the top 5 CS all belonging to Liquid right now, so everyone's suffering. And Magnus is just getting manhandled by Korok here in mid. I don't know what the problem is. I'm going to guess he's bottle crowing. Yeah, he is. He's got the bottle on the way back to the base now. But he's already being more than just about tripled up now. Now we're going to have an engagement on the Mike and TC. There's a Gale, got them both. TC at half health, going to have to turn and fight. Throws out the Lucent Beam, and he will be locked in place. First blood goes the way of Envy, and they may get to. Mike pops the Carapace, and
He's going to get out of there. He'll get out of there just barely. The Carapace saved his life there, for sure.
So,
never mind, sorry.
It's all right. First blood goes the way of Kaipi. That's certainly going to help Envy make up a little bit of ground. TC back up and ready to fight now. At this stage, if you're in Liquid shoes and you're starting to see a little bit of pushback in your lanes, do you start to think about running a gank style and just taking the lead that you have so far, which again is not the most
mid
considerable.
Lane, Rise getting dove here.
Rise tried to skewer back. Korok's right there with him and throws out the side trap. Looks like he should be able to clean him up. Couple more auto attacks. One more. Arise juked him.
Around the Rosie.
Gave him the old okey doke there in the woods. And now Bone's going to spot Korok. There, though, is the net to lock him down. And Korok going to benefit from it. Fluff, quick on the trigger, brought his buddy from the jungle and bailed his other buddy out.
Yeah, what actually hurt them a lot there was Bulba. He missed this rocket. If he would have hit into the trees there, Korok wouldn't have got fogged there, and he would have got the kill. But unfortunately, Bulba's rocket flare landed right on the tower and gave no vision whatsoever of that Magnus. So a little bit unfortunate there for Liquid.
Void is beginning to make up some ground now. He's at 19 last hits to the 29 of Luna. Luna should get a few here, though. But that first blood certainly helping him out quite a bit. And we can see, yeah, just laying into the creeps, quite happy to continue doing what he's doing. He's got himself a set of treads. If you're in Envy shoes here, how do you think you should build him here, Fear?
Well, Void builds are very tricky because there's so many builds you can do, but I'm pretty sure what he does is he goes Mask of Madness like first item into a Maelstrom, which is, or BKB, Maelstrom BKB, something like that. He doesn't go for the Battle Fury builds, so I'm expecting him to get that.
Oh, poor Rise. He skewered the illusion from Korok.
Oh, jeez.
He spin his RP. He spin his RP on him and skewered the.
I didn't catch that.
Yep, it was in mid, and I was gonna break in if he actually had brought him under the tower. I had the camera there, but Arise continues to struggle. He's at 16 last hits to the 43 of Korok, and that's gonna be the big liability, I think, and the big worry for Kaipi. They were just on the bad, ugly end of Korok's beaten stick in game 1, and Korok off to a great start so far. Gonna be looking to swing that stick for the second game in a row.
Yeah, this mid lane's a total disaster. Like 18 to 44, that is ridiculous. That shouldn't be happening, and hopefully, you know, Kaipi can find a way to like mitigate this damage once he gets his Blink Dagger up. But however, they did make that rotation top and secured farm for Void and put TC back a little bit. So that was a huge, huge play from them. That'll actually get him through the mid game just a little bit.
Arise might be a target here. The Invis rune the Korok picked up about at halftime. Bulba's hanging around and he is level 7, so he has a hook if he wants to spend it. And Arise says, nope, that's fine. Don't need experience. That's what trees are for, to hide behind.
Yeah, it's just making his life even more miserable than it is.
Yep. And Korok showing his face. Tower's still in good shape at the very least. I mean, we always got to pick the positives. Hang on, Mike spotted out. There's the Grave Chill, slowing him down, but Bulba's going to be there. There's the Chronosphere going to catch too. And that should be a death on Mike. Bulba. Yeah, that's the thing about a Clockwork. Just a little dude, and you can just, you know, see it in their face. They look at him and go, nope, Cogs, turn around. Don't even try to engage. No point.
Yeah, pretty much. He's a very, very hard hero to kill. And unfortunately for them there, that they wanted to go on that, but Mike was just lit opposition, and they both got caught.
9 minutes in, 2 kills on the board. Both belong to Kaipi. Taking a look at the gold graph, we can see it's still really close. Right around 1,000 gold separating the two teams. That 1,000 in favor of Liquid. Less than 1,000, closer to 500 experience. So, for all intents and purposes, pretty darn even. Which is really impressive, given that 4 of the top 6 farmers on the board right now all belong to Liquid, and the top 2 both belong to Liquid. What's really going to determine the complexion of the mid-game, I believe, is what Korok's able to get done once he gets his Blink Dagger up. He's just under halfway there now.
Yeah, and they really need to rotate that Venomancer mid lane. It's one of the heroes that can actually get a kill on Korok, because he can actually break the refraction pretty easily, but he needs to put another point in Poison Sting for that to be possible. But even if you get a nice RP skewer and a Gale under the tower, there's no way Korok's going to live that. They need to do something about Korok soon. They have to realize this is a problem. And after last game with the great start he had, I'm sure they don't want to go through that again.
And let's see if they want to push here. Yep, they're going to spend a Lucent Beam as well as some damage from the creep. There's the Infest to get Bone back up and in fighting shape. And yeah, they're going to back off. I got to give it to Kaipi. I felt like the lanes really weren't in their favor, but they have been holding on admirably. The only concern I have is they're spending a lot of time doing superfluous stuff. We're seeing a lot of movement and rotation, which is great, but as you mentioned, they don't really have a team that likes to do that.
Yeah, Liquid just forced them into that situation, which is a great, just a great strategic idea for them. But I don't know if they're going to go for a push on bottom here. And Venomancer is only level 3, so those are just level 1 wards. They have no levels on this Venomancer, and they really need it. But however, they do have the levels on Visage, which is more important. They have those bats now, and those bats are very, very obnoxious in team fights. They do a lot of damage early game.
Visage, a fresh 6. Quite literally just 6 points above level 6. It is going to be that Mask of Madness coming out of Envy. And, I mean, this is, as you said, there's a myriad of builds that you can go with Faceless Void. The only problem I have with this one is, and again, this is just from a caster's point of view, it has always seemed like this build is very easy to stall out. You get up your Mask of Madness, and then if you try to come fight and lose a fight, all of a sudden you have the hardest time getting your farm back underway.
Yeah, it's very true, but right now they really need the Void to be active in these fights, and he does this every game. Otherwise, I would say, just given the circumstances of the game, he's going to be like, okay, well, my team needs me, might as well get the item that'll help me the most right now. Going for a battle free does not help you at all. It takes a long time to farm, and it just gives you damage and some stats in early game. Before you farm it, you're completely worthless.
Right.
So he gets the Maelstrom up directly after, which helps him with his farm. It's just 2 cost-effective items. He doesn't put all his eggs in one basket. He kind of has a balanced build here.
Right. 11 minutes in. Been a relatively quiet game. Very few kills on the board. A lot of movement, a lot of damage done, but both teams just taking things as they come. TC does top Void right now in terms of CS, but given how bad a start Void had, the fact that he's even in range is pretty impressive. However, if we look at the gold per minute, it actually is Void on top. So even though TC has more total CS, he is falling up short, or coming up short a bit, in terms of the GPM. So Kaipi doing quite an excellent job, and I'd love to see teams bounce back like this. I mean, they took a real ugly loss in Game 1 and already showing that even though things didn't go exactly as planned in the early phase, they have a lot of resiliency.
Yeah, they did a great job. The rotation was really key for them to just get that Venomancer out of that lane. If they wouldn't have had that first blood on the top lane on the Luna, I'm afraid this game would have been spiraling out of control like last game. So good rotation out of them to get back in this game.
Korok going to have his Blink Dagger up and about 400 gold. He's got to set a phase, and again, I think we both agree that's going to be the big liability. How is Kaipi? If Kaipi can somehow deal with Korok and keep him under control once a Blink Dagger's done, I think they're going to be in beautiful, beautiful shape. And at one point, that's going to be coming very soon for Liquid. You have to start to feel a sense of urgency in making something happen on the map.
Yeah, they're going to just want to get their basic levels up, but Enchantress is one of those heroes that needs to get a lot done early game. You've seen it too many times where Enchantress late game, just a little under-farmed, just food all over the map. So they're actually smoking out now, trying to get something done here. Mike has an Vendetta up. They're probably going to go on the Magnus here.
Mag could be in trouble. He does have a haste rune, though. Will be expiring right now. And there we go. Going to be spent. There's the Impale to follow it up. Immediate TP reaction. Zizou's in range as well. There's the RP going to be spent. Catches a couple. Void right there to clean another one up. Korok was the target. Now Fluff time locked in place. We're going to see the skewer away to keep him alive. Korok in trouble. And Luna pops the ulti, but not doing much. Actually, they do manage to bring down the Void because of that. Soul Assumption doing good damage to Bulba. And he looks like he might end up dropping as well if they decide to pursue it out. And the last Soul Assumption just not quite enough. I'm actually really surprised that ended up being a 2 for 2. Kaipi seemed to be in beautiful position after dropping down the Chronosphere, but it ends up being a break even.
Well, usually when you buy Mask of Madness on Void and Tank and Eclipse, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, just
so
a bit.
He ended up getting just completely destroyed by the Luna ult there because of the Mask of Madness plus Eclipse, and he didn't have RNG God Luck, even though it's only level 2 and didn't backtrack any of them. So unfortunately for them, he dished out a whole lot of damage, but at that price he is super squishy, so he died for it.
Taking a look at the old Luna, she's on her way to a BKB, it would seem, skipping drums even. And I think that tells you that TC feeling that he needs to just have a lot more stability in his hero. Did pick up his treads to go along with it. TA. Yep, Blink Dagger now done on Korok. Now, this is where things, I think, are going to get fun. Fluff, a complete non-factor in that fight, was blown up immediately by the Void. And, you know, that's something you had kind of mentioned is usually when you see an Enchantress, it's usually between 4 and 10 minutes an Enchantress starts to really be active. We just didn't really see that out of Fluff.
Yeah, I didn't see too much movement out of him this game. He saved Korok's life once on bot lane, and applied a little pressure. They did have the scare factor of Enchantress, which helped them win the laning phase, which is really important. And on bottom lane, they're going to hit it. Oh, Gale misses.
And Grave Shield going to slow him down. Here comes Korok, though, and there again is Envy. We're going to see him blink right in. He's going to go for it. And Envy in trouble, taking a lot of damage. One Impetus Spear from downtown locks him down. Now the Impale going to catch Pylai Die. He's the next on the kill list. Arise, caught by the side trap, and a hook from downtown. Bulba lands, and the RP spent, but Bone walks right into the cogs. They're going to kill Mag, and Bulba should have a chance to get away here. In fact, they're going to get a return kill. Lifestealer cleaned up. A complete disaster for Kaipi. Feeling a little too big for their britches. And paying the price for it. All of a sudden, Liquid turns it around. They got one tower. They're about to take 2.
Yeah, like, that was very confusing to me because when you go Mask of Madness on Void, you don't fight unless your ultimate's up. Because if they hit you when you're, like, if they hit you at any point in time when they're not stunned, you're going to melt like you saw there. He even got mech'd up. I don't even know who has. Someone has a mech on that team? I don't know. That was a magic stick. Never mind. He just has very low HP. It looks like a mech. But they're getting Roche right now.
And here we go. Bulba's going to drop the cogs. Down it goes. Korok does pick it up, and Bulba should end up being food, and he will. Now can they catch Korok? Oh, Luna pops the ulti, kills the Veno immediately. They may try to fight it. Mike looking for trouble with half health and half mana. But looks like both teams happy to just leave it at that, a 1-for-1 Bulba for Veno. However, with Roshan dropping to Liquid, and again, this is what we anticipated. TA, Korok, more importantly, being the main factor. And I'll tell you what I think was impressive there from Liquid was, well, at least from Korok, and granted, maybe it was just him being Korok and being the aggressive player he is. He blinked into a situation and engaged that I don't know that I would have, but it turned out to be right.
Yeah, when you're this far ahead with a TA, you have no reason to not be as aggressive as you want to be. You get in there with your refraction, get a hit off, and you know your team's there to back you up. So.
Right. Well, we can see Kaipi rattling their saber in mid here. Bulba's there along with our Wild Ken Ripper. One of the few names that I like of the Jungle Creeps.
Oh, Venos in no man's land right now.
Zizou eats a hook, and I'll tell you, man, this is a lesson I want everyone to learn watching the stream. Bulba will hit his hooks. Do not be by yourself. If Bulba's in vicinity, I mean, and just look, I'll hover over it. The range on hook is, I mean, it is, look at that. It's gigantic. Bulba will hit his hooks. This is a hero he plays very well, and as you said, Zissou in no man's land paid the price.
Yeah, he really did. Like, what Kaipi needs to do now is they need to not take fights like in bottom lane. What they did is they had RP was on cooldown and Sphere was on cooldown.
Right.
Don't defend towers if you don't have your spells up, because if you do that, you're going to end up with a horrible trade like you did and get further behind, because Liquid is a team that will punish you if you get behind.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you one thing that's scary about Liquid's team, and we've seen it a couple of times already. Liquid has one of those teams that is so insanely hard to fight against because you'll show up, think you can take a fight, and then they'll leave, and then all of a sudden they go, actually, we changed our mind. And because of Hook, because of TA's Blink, because of Vendetta allowing Nyx to get on you, they can go from retreating to just busting your lip in about a half a second.
Yeah, I mean, Korok's one of his favorite heroes is TA, and that's one of the heroes that's great of just choosing the times to fight. Like, you can think you've got him killed, and then Refraction just gets off cooldown, and then he can just change the fight completely just off of that alone.
And we can see Liquid beginning to mass here in mid. TC, in the meantime, closer to his BKB. In fact, BKB's done at about 150 gold for him. They may just want to take this tower, fall back, get that BKB, and go with it. And yep, they're going to get engaged. Korok is going to have his refraction popped, but wisely they pull back. There was a lot of pain waiting on them. In the meantime, Void spotted out by Mike at top. And there we go. There's the Impale, the Mana Burn, and the Hook. Oh, what a beautiful chain of initiation. Can they track him down? They can.
Oh,
rocket
turned on his mask and madness with a rocket. Oh, man, I don't know if it would have killed him otherwise.
I don't think so, actually. I was a little surprised to see it. I'm glad you actually noticed. I was watching Bulba more than I was watching the Void there. I didn't even notice he turned on the mask. But
Korok admit is actually getting gone on here. He's gonna go down.
Asia's gonna be popped. So there you go, Kaipi getting themselves a nice little win. Fluff just slinging spears from downtown, and now might end up paying for it. No, good stomp from the Centaur. Now he's gonna turn and start re-engaging again. They just have that kind of a team where they can turn around and deal so much damage on the turn of a dime that you can't over-pursue. If you over-pursue and they feel like they have the advantage, they have the ability to turn a fight very quickly.
Yeah, they just have that, you know, lead, that type of lead where they're not really afraid of anything right now.
And right now, we can see top tower being assaulted by Bulba. Bulba's having a great game. He's level 12. He's got just about 2,000 gold in the bank, and he's got a whole team occupying the enemy's jungle to the south of him. Envy, on the other hand, he's got 1,300 gold in the bank, trying to find his farm down in the enemy jungle. May end up trying to push this bottom tower eventually. But for now, Liquid happy to take yet another tower. 20 minutes in, 10-5. Liquid doubling Kaipi up. And the gold looking familiar to game one, man. They're just about 10,000.
Yeah, they're steamrolling right now. Liquid's one of those teams, when they get ahead like this, especially a player like Korok, when he plays from ahead, that's when he's the strongest. Because he takes advantage of every little mistake you will make, especially support players. If you step wrong, he's going to be there and just like make these cocky plays that he loves to make when he sees people out of position.
Korok
going for a trade here, though.
Uh-oh, I just see. She just do that, really? Okay, TC. I'm going to guess that was the wrong button, brother. But
BKB? No?
No, he's popped his ultimate. He just popped it. He popped Eclipse just cuz. Just cuz. But yeah, it's just echoing what you had said. Korok is a quintessential example of, whenever, every broadcaster has their own set of terminology that they use, and we all have our different meetings and our different meanings. But, I use the term playmaker a lot, and Korok is the quintessential example of that. A guy who is counted upon to be a high-risk, high-reward player who manages to make something out of nothing very frequently. Like Demon, I feel like, is another good example of a playmaker. Right. And you, I've actually cited you as a playmaker from the carry position whenever you play, because you'll tend to just, whenever you are playing the one position, you'll tend to just farm, but you do like to be on heroes like a Sven, like a Void, where you can make plays as the game goes later.
Yeah, absolutely. So the thing about Korok is, like, when he plays really hot, he's super hot. I'm actually going to initiate. We're going to wait on this.
Oh, there's the hook. Actually, the hook caught a familiar. So Bulba coming up short there. Pylai dies, stunned down by the Centaur, and he's going to drop. Now, this is where things get problematic with Visage, and I've talked a lot with Draskell about the hero in particular. Visage is excellent if you want to run him in a set sort of role, and he can scale fairly well into the mid game and even into the early stages of the late game without showing too much fall off. But that's if the early game goes the way it should. And as you mentioned, and I think it's a brilliant insight, the fact that they made him move around is just so out of the comfort zone for that hero, and I think we're beginning to feel it. Like, Visage just does not feel that threatening to me anymore.
Yeah, he's one of those heroes, much like Undying. If you don't have a great start with Undying or with Visage, they just fall off and become food. We've seen it too many times.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. 22 minutes in. And the map control beginning to go heavily in the favor of Liquid. They did just lose their middle tower to a deny, but still looking to be
3.5K gold on Clockwork.
Exactly.
What is he gonna buy? Saving for Christmas, man.
Exactly. Get a Ghost Scepter, brother. Ghost Scepter actually I feel like be a pretty decent choice for him.
I think he's going to get something more aggressive. Ghost Scepter is one of those items you typically get when either the game's even or you're behind. But when you have a huge lead, why not just get a bigger item to help the team? Like, if he gets, like, for example, Shiva's Guard or Aghanim Scepter, something that helps him tank up, they can't kill him anyway, so why not? You don't need the Ghost Scepter when you have a huge lead. It's one of those items that you usually get on supports and stuff like that when you're just a little bit behind or the game's even and you know they're going to get blown up. But right now there's no damage, really, on the side of Kaipi to really bring him down if he has enough HP. So I think the choice for him is definitely to get some type of useful item and tank up a little bit.
We are 22.5 minutes into this game. We got 11 kills on the board, 16 kills on the board, 11 of them belonging to Liquid. Want to thank each and every one of you for joining us for this broadcast. Game 2 of this best of 3 in the lower bracket for Liquid and Kaipi. This is an elimination match, and Kaipi trailing by 1 game cannot afford to let this game slip away. If they do, they're out of the G1 Western Qualifier. Same is true for Liquid, but they've got that buffer. While we have a moment in this, and we happen to be paused, hope you guys will check out G1.2p.com. The sponsor home for the G1 Champions League. You can check out all the articles, the interviews, your brackets, interact with your broadcasters live via Twitter, all that fun stuff. Make sure you check out G1.2p.com. My co-broadcaster for this series, at least, and hopefully, I don't know what your plans are. Maybe you can stick around if you don't have anything else going on for a second broadcast sphere. But my co-broadcaster for this best of 3 is Fear of EG fame, one of the best carry players you're going to see, and one of the best 4 supports, as I was corrected. And but yeah, make sure you check him out. Go ahead and drop your Twitter link and your Twitch link, my friend.
Yeah, you can find me at Fear Dota on Facebook and Twitter, and my stream is Fear Darkness.
There you go. And you know, you're one of those guys I really do enjoy watching stream because I feel like I learn so much. You know, even as a broadcaster guy who watches Dota all day for a living, you know, just the, you know, and yes, of course, you're going to have your fun and all that. But for the most part, you're fun to watch because, you know, it's edutainment. Edutainment.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be entertaining. That's what I go for.
Arise with a passenger. And smoked up with his teammates here, moving through the dire side jungle. Trying to find a target, and I like this out of them. I mean, there comes a point where you get hit in the face so many times, you can't just go, okay, I guess I'll just sit back and keep getting hit in the face and hope something turns around. You know, this is the way you make something happen. Take a win you shouldn't be able to take. Get a gank, and then push off of it. That kind of thing. And
given their heroes, they can win these fights, but they need perfect spell usage here.
Right, right. And, I mean, Envy, the nice thing about Envy's build is he is getting damage off of the Empower by itself. So, you know, yes, he's not hitting for an immense amount of damage, but he is hitting much better than he would be otherwise. And we can see up there we go. Oh, beautiful RP. Caught 3. Off goes the Eclipse. Can they get it done quick enough? We can see Eternal Envy's hurting. Pylai Die about to be blown up. Korok is just cleaning house. 2-shot at 3 heroes. He's going to be able to clean up another one. The Rocket almost enough to kill off the Lifestealer. They're going to pursue him out. Oh, what a huge turnaround on the back of Korok, who puts an ultra kill on the board. RP was gorgeous out of Arise. Was gorgeous out of Arise. The damage follow-up, though, just not enough, and Liquid takes control in a big, big way.
All right, Korok's just one of these players, man. Like, he always is like that fight, he was hasted and DD. At the same time. He's one of those players that every team fight, he has like the most ridiculous runes.
Right.
But the second part of that fight was like Eternal Envy was hesitating the chrono right after the skewer because he wasn't sure if it was going to be good or not. And that 1 second that he waited gave enough time for Bulba to drop the cogs and burn all of his mana. So he was not able to drop a chrono whatsoever that fight. And like I said, if they wanted to win a team fight, they needed perfect spell execution, and they did not get it there.
Tell you who they got it from is Arise. Cannot blame that man. That's as good an RP as he's going to be able to land. I mean, you know, when you're behind this much, you can't just wait for the 5, man. Now we're going to see, oh, Zissou. He's dead. Pylite Die's going to drop. Vino got his ulti off. There's a skewer on the Korok. Korok just going to turn around and kill him. Now the Chrono goes off and does nothing at all. And he's cleaned up from downtown by TC. And we might be seeing the beginning of the end for Kaipi here. There's a buyback, actually, from TA. And, yep, there it is.
They're just going to call it.
GG, well played, and our first team to drop out of the G1 Western Qualifier here in the lower bracket gonna be named Kaipi. Liquid, upset by you and Evil Geniuses. Just a couple of days ago, my friend, they're going to advance and look to earn their way to land going the hard way.
And you can't get greedy against Liquid with your lanes. You just can't do it, and they're too good at exploiting that. And I'm sure Kaipi probably learned their lesson here with that.
And the Ancient Blows. Fantastic series. I mean, really, just a really impressive showing, I feel, out of Liquid. And you know, and Liquid's one of those teams that everyone knows is good, but then occasionally they'll have like a down slump. They'll take a couple of losses, and then they'll be like, well, what about Liquid? Then they come out and take on Kaipi, a team who's been playing really, really well, and hang 2 wins on them in less than 50 minutes collectively. That's what we just saw. 10-1, the finish on Korok. And tell you what, Fear, I mean, it's, you know, looking back on this game, you know, early on, I felt like Kaipi really had a chance. I mean, the lanes were going not the best, but they were at least able to fight back, as you said. You know, getting that first blood on TC was a big step. But where do you think things really fell apart?
It was just, like, on that bottom fight, I think was a big factor, where they chose to take that fight without their ultimates up. They lost that tower. I think they lost 2 towers there and a Roshan directly after. And that was a huge turning point for this game. They were still in it. They just needed to pick their fights a little bit better.
19-7, the final kill score. 26 minutes, 12 seconds, all the time it took for Liquid to clean up game number 2. And they advance to the G1 Western Qualifier lower bracket. Kaipi, after defeating Empire and putting on a show against Fnatic, has their run in the G1 Quali come to